you know, I think about Chris, and throughout our careers, there's always somebody that teaches us as physicians. And Chris was one of those kids that taught me a lot. It comes sort of naturally. I think that children have a huge propensity to absorb and to understand much more than we give them credit for. As adults, we tend to want to shelter and protect. But you could tell that his maturity, and this is frequently the case with kids with cancers, because they're curious, and so they start to listen, and they grow up, essentially. So when I spend time with kids in these kind of situations, I always remind myself that they're not an average 8-year-old or a 7-year-old or even a 5 or a 6-year-old. And you have to be their friend, but you have to be honest, because that's what they're looking for. And he was pretty straight about that. I don't know if you remember that, but he would ask very hard questions, and he would look at me with a look that I knew that if I tried to sugarcoat it, or I tried to play something down that he knew about, he would call me on that.
He had a wisdom
about
him.
He did, and I think that's a real learning point for a lot of us as physicians as we deal with children. The pediatricians and those of us involved with the specialties in that, I think we know that academically, and we're taught that, but until you meet somebody like Chris and you become his friend, I don't think you really take it to heart. You think, well, they're still kids. We need to protect them. It's our job as parents. It's our job as adults. And in these kids, our job is to help them understand as best they can and help them work through these things. He never gave up, but he also never. I think he knew if he were to die, that he would die with people around him that took care of him.
What would either of you say to families that feel like they don't want to tell their children what's going on, or they don't want the staff to talk about the honesty?
I think the parents have to really look at their child and, can that child understand? But I think honesty is the best thing, because you don't want to give them false hope, and you don't want to tell them everything's going to be okay when it may not be. And as a parent, for me, I wanted him to know. I didn't want to hide anything from him. So I guess it would be, and listen to your child. If your child asks you a question, don't, lie or sugarcoat it or whatever it may be. Tell them the truth, because that's what they want. That's what they're asking for.